Hello, hello. Today is June 7th, 2021. It's time for our bi-weekly meeting with Norm Winski. Norm, what have you got for us today?
Thanks for having me on, Jeff. I thought I would start out by reviewing the forecast that I made last on your show on Friday, May 21. And everything I'm doing here is objective empirical information. I can't change it at all. It is whatever I told you back on May 21, and that I gave you some astrological planetary points and associated them with various markets. You can go back and watch the previous show, and you'll see that none of these points have changed. None of the data has changed at all, and we're going to see how it all worked out. So AC is my abbreviation for after the close. So we have May 21 AC after the close was a Friday, and that would be the weekend. We had Saturn in Aquarius turning retrograde. That's due to the relative motion of the Earth to other planets. It appears, that's the operative word, appears, that when the planet turns retrograde, it appears that it stopped its motion and is now going to go backwards. That's what Saturn did that weekend. Saturn is associated with coffee, Aquarius is copper, and the stocks respond to just about everything. So sometimes I don't even bother writing the word stocks in here anymore, because it just got repetitive, because every line would have stocks in it. All right, then we had the night of the 25th, that we had a total lunar eclipse in Sagittarius at perigee. That's a three-way lunar climax. That's very rare, and I think it only happens about every 5 or 6 years. And so we're going to be looking at for the financials, grains, precious metals. Then we had Uranus a point in the U.S. chart. And the U.S. chart, we take a snapshot of where the planets were when the U.S. was founded on July the 4th, 1776. And every time we have one of those, we look at U.S. stocks, T-bonds, and U.S. dollar. And then the Memorial Day weekend, we had 2 Mercury cycles hitting there at the same time. We had Mercury turning retrograde and also Mercury at 0 south latitude. That's a very rare combination, and that's like double powerful Mercury cycle. So here we go. Here we're going to review now. Here's our first one was coffee. We had the weekend of the 21st, and there's a low right on the opening. Well, maybe not the opening, but that day on the 24th was a very nice low in coffee. If you're not familiar with the coffee market, every penny, here's your scale here, every penny movement in coffee is $375. It's a bit of a beast. And so I think we went up about 15 cents. I think that works out to about $6,000 in about a week. That's pretty good. Here's your grains did very well. The corn made a low right there on the moon, on the lunar eclipse. Then it rallied into the Memorial Day weekend and made a blow-off top. All these grains did pretty much the same thing. The corn, the soybeans, and the wheat had a blow-off top on the opening, right after the opening on Tuesday, June 1. We were closed on Monday, Memorial Day, And here's the reason I put this little chart here, a 1-minute bar, so you can see what happened on the opening. Look at that. It's spiked way up. That was about only 17 minutes into the opening was the high. So you can see there, if you took time for a cup of coffee on the opening, you could have got a lot better fill, right? There you go. So then it went down, 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 and there you go. So all the grains did pretty much the same thing. And there we had the beans. Mercury's associated with the grains, And so there's the moon. There's the moon. The low on the beans, and there's the high on the beans, and so that was good. I got my little micro chart over here, the 1-minute bars. The beans rallied about 30 cents, and then within an hour or two, dropped 40 cents. They gave back all that and more. Wheat did pretty much the same thing. All the wheat deviated a little bit and made an initial momentum high, pulled back and made one tiny higher high, a penny or two higher, about a half an hour later. So there we go. So there's copper making a low there on the Saturn in Aquarius retrograde. That was good. The silver made a top right on the moon. Here's the gold doing the same thing, making a top on the moon. And here's your S&P, kind of confusing sideways. I don't do sideways or confusing, and it went down, stay out. So I put the yellow bar there, so I took a pass on that. We had a little pullback low here into that was into the moon there. And then we rallied, and my next point was a U.S. point there. That just kept on going, so that was a miss. That's a red arrow. And then you had the Memorial Day weekend window with the double Mercury whammy, and that was a very nice top, as you might remember. And then we had the pullback for about sharp pullback for about 3 days. And here's your bonds. Bonds topped on the moon, and then you had the U.S. point there, which was right just the next day, just a little bit lower than the top. Here's the dollar. Dollar made a low on the moon, and then went up and made a little top there on the U.S. point. Here's the Aussie dollar was going sideways, so we take a pass. British pound, we going sideways, take a pass. Euro dollar rallied right up to the moon and made a very nice top there. And there we go. And here's the Japanese yen rallied. We just missed the top there. We're just past the top there, close to the top on the moon. That was a moon top there on the yen. And we had another moon top on the Swiss franc. So here we go, and here's the if you count up the green arrows and red arrows, had 24 winners, 1 miss out of 25. That's 96%. And I wouldn't be blaming you if you were skeptical, but believe it or not, that's how it came out, for better or worse. So here's what's coming up on the night of the 9th. That'll be Wednesday night. We have Mercury aphelion. Mercury goes around the sun 88 days. It's a elliptical orbit. All the planets go around the sun elliptically, and that's not a circle. It's like an egg, and it's egg-shaped. And so there's a point where they're the closest and they're the farthest, and Mercury will be at its farthest point there on the night of the 9th. And the Mercury, of course, is your grains, and because it has to do with the sun, also going to throw in their emphasis on corn, gold, and OJ. So you got a double emphasis there on corn. And then we have a solar eclipse the night of the 9th also. And that's a special new moon. It's financial grains, precious metals. And notice we have a theme here with the gold and the OJ and the corn, because the sun is involved in all 3 of these things. Then the night of the 10th, we have geocentric Mars entering the sign of Leo, which is ruled by the sun. And therefore you have corn, gold, and OJ. So if you're a gold fan, or you might want to pay attention to this window here. Something big could happen there in your gold market. We have a U.S. point for the weekend of the 11th. Friday is the 11th. And with the Saturn to the U.S. chart. And then that's reinforced with, over the weekend, we have Venus perihelion. That's the opposite of aphelion. Venus will be at its closest point to the sun over the weekend. And that'll be your cattle, copper, corn, cotton, and because the sun involved gold, OJ, sugar, wheat. And then the night of the next Monday, the 14th night, we'll have a Jupiter from geocentric point of view of the Earth, Saturn in Aquarius, 90 degrees to Uranus and Taurus. That'll be your cattle, coffee, copper, and cotton. So here's I have for classes. If you want any help on any of the terminology I gave you, once you get used to the terminology, none of this stuff is very complicated. I could teach a 10-year-old to do this, so you don't have to be very smart to do this. Let the planets do the thinking for you. You see, I did pretty well here, and I'm not that smart, so there you go. So here's my contact information. I'm in sunny Naples, Florida, 239-594-3939. And we have N Winski, embark with a Q, mail.com. And then the Skype and Winski_1. And looking forward to talking with some of your folks and helping them there, Jeff.
Okay, well, that's terrific as always. I don't know if I ever saw 96% before from anybody. So that's...
I don't think I ever did it before.
Well, so we may never see this again, but I'm happy you got it.
Again, right?
Okay, we'll see you.
I typically try to, I'm happy if I shoot in the 70s,
So. I think most people would be. Norm, that's terrific as always. Thanks ever so much, and we'll see you back in a few weeks.
Great. Thanks a lot, Jeff.
Okay, bye.